We're in the Gala Casino, Russell Square, and we've spoken in an earlier video about the basic principles of poker, and we've mentioned that it's all to do with how hands are ranked, and I think now we're going to have a look and see which hand beats which. So we've talked about how poker is a game of ranking hands, and let's have a look at the dominant hands and which hand beats each one. So what's the best hand I can get in poker, Matt?
Right, once the cards are dealt, all 5 cards are out, the best hand possible is a royal flush. It's a straight from 10 to an ace with all 5 cards of the same suit. In poker, all suits are ranked equally. Okay,
so there's no advantage, for example, to have the same cards but diamonds or hearts or spades?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
no.
so those are all in the same order. Ace obviously is the highest in the pack,
yep.
And they're all the same suit, i.e. they've all got the same symbol on them, haven't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Peter. So what's next? That was our royal flush. What's next?
After that we have a straight flush.
Okay.
It's a straight with all 5 cards of the same suit.
Okay, so we've used that word for the first time, a straight. So just very, very quickly, Matt, talk us through a straight. That's indicating presumably a sequence of cards and numbers and figures. Yeah.
A straight is any 5 consecutive cards of different suits. Aces can count as either a high or a low card.
So although we've shown here the king as the high card, we
yep.
could have a straight which started at, I don't know, 4
yep.
and run up through.
Yes,
yep.
Yep,
okay.
Indeed.
And an ace can be high or low?
Yep.
Fine. Okay, thanks, Peter. So we've had a royal flush and a straight flush. What's next, Matt?
Next is 4 of a kind. It's in the title.
Okay. Says what it does on the tin.
Exactly. It's 4 of the same ranked cards. If you share 4 of a kind, then your high card will play.
Okay.
As seen here, it's 4 of a kind with 4s and ace high.
So I think I've won the tournament because I've got 4 4s.
Yep.
But someone else might have another 4 cards all the same. But in this case, your 5th card is going to be the thing that decides the hand. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Marvellous. Well, 4 of a kind looks a handy hand to have. What's next?
Next we have a full house. It's any 3 cards of the same rank together with any 2 cards of the same rank also.
Okay, so that's 3 and 2 effectively. A pair.
So we've got 3 of a kind here, 3 6s and 2 5s. So that's your full house.
And that's a pretty useful hand to have, is
Definitely,
it? I mean,
you're unlucky to lose with that hand.
Okay, great. I mean, by contrast, while we're just discussing this, a royal flush, I guess, is the nature that's the top hand. It's pretty rare to come across, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, what comes next?
Next, we have a flush. A flush is any 5 cards of the same suit.
Well, I can speak from experience. I love to get a delta flush or have a flush in my. I would tend to feel quite powerful with that kind of hand, but there is one trick to it, isn't there? You want to have a high card, is that right?
You do need a high card invariably to win with a flush. A board shows only 9 high, but if I'm holding, ace king of spades, then I'm going to be taking that pot down.
Yeah. So there may be plenty of people. The nature of that particular hand is that plenty of people might hold a flush,
yep.
because there'll be plenty of the same suit sitting on the table.
Well,
but whoever holds,
they're still relatively hard to come by.
Yeah.
But you will be unlucky to lose with a 10 high, jack high flush. But when the pots get big, don't be surprised to run into an ace high flush and lose.
Okay, so it's all those cards. Doesn't matter what order they're in, same suit, and whoever has the highest card of that flush is going to win the hand.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, thanks, Peter. Okay, we're now starting to get into hands which people will tend to have on a more regular basis, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, that's fair to say. Next, we're going to be showing a straight.
Okay.
Thanks, Peter. A straight is just any 5 consecutive cards.
Okay, fine. So once again, here the first thing to note is obviously they're not suited. Any old jumble, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
But just as long as they're in sequence numerically, fine.
Yep.
What's next, Matt?
Next is 3 of a kind. We touched upon that briefly with the full house.
Okay, let's have a look at 3 of a kind.
The difference between this and the full house is that it's 3 of a kind without another pair.
Okay.
In this example, it's 3 8s.
Now we're talking about Texas Hold'em, aren't we? Which is the best hand of 5 cards, isn't it? So
yes.
So here the actual crucially, the three cards we're looking at is the three of a kind. So the real thing to look at is three cards of the same value.
Definitely. Although, if I am holding an ace here, I will again take that pot down.
Because it's all about completing the highest 5-card hand.
The ace, as you'll discover, is crucial.
Okay, great. Three of a kind there. And I think we're going to look at some hands which, if you're starting to play these hands, you're taking probably a bit more of a risk, aren't you? Because they're lower down in the pecking order. What's next?
I mean, we're talking about 2-pair here, Peter. It's a good hand, but when the pots swell, it's probably not going to win.
You're sitting there and someone's just put in a very big raise and you're thinking to yourself, is this going to stand? Someone may have a flush or a full house or whatever. Fine. What's next then?
1-pair. We're down near the bottom now. This is a hand that you'll get pretty frequently.
Okay, so we're demonstrating this pair with a pair of kings, and that's obviously quite a good pair. I mean, if you're going to have pairs, pair of kings. Sometimes this I think we can talk about really is that we talk about the first hand really, where you can actually start having something even before the community cards are dealt. So you might be dealt a pair as your initial. As your initial hand, so you might even be starting here with this is the start of it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And again, though, big pots, a pair are often behind, so you have to tread carefully with a pair sometimes. Yeah. Although being dealt a pair of kings is a great start. You'd
be dealt maybe a pair of kings, and then you'd be hoping to see another king on the flop, or later on in the game as well.
I think crucially, you'd be looking to avoid an ace on the flop, and then you're quite happy with your kings.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You've got to be thinking in those terms, haven't you?
You don't want to be seeing an ace up there.
Okay, well, sometimes, and it seems to me in most of the games I play, one doesn't even get a pair. And you're ended up, thank you, Peter, you're ended up relying on a single high card, and it's...
And the highest of all, of course, is the ace that we've been talking about.
Let's have a look. And this is the sort of hand I tend to hold.
You're going to be playing a high card more often than not when you're up against one player.
Okay.
If you're playing heads-up games, which are one-on-one games, then high cards often win. And if you've got an ace, it's a powerful
So you can be that bit more bullish if you're just playing against one player. But conversely, if you're playing with 7 or 8 people around the table,
you're not going to win with high card.
You've got a high card. You're going in with where angels fear to tread.
Exactly.
Okay, fine. Thanks very much. Thanks, Matt. I think that's very helpful.